Hello everybody, today we're going to be talking about comping, specifically comping vocals. This is something that every artist or songwriter that records their own vocals needs to be able to do, and I'm going to show you the quickest and easiest way of doing it. This isn't going to be in an under 1 minute video, but it is going to be a quick video because it's really easy and there isn't that much to learn here. I'm going to show you the song we're going to be working on, but before all that, what is a comp? A comp is basically where we record takes of a section of a song and then choose which part of which take we want to be our final version. Most DAWs are really cool, except Ableton, I think, because we can basically click and drag which section we want and then it'll merge it all together for us and give us a really good final track. It also makes it really easy to do takes because you just record over the same section over and over again and it'll record all the takes in one big folder. But I'll show you that in a minute. Anyway, let's go over to the computer and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Okie dokie, so this is the project. This is a song called Me and You. Me and my housemates all wrote it and one of my housemates is singing on it. So this is the verse and chorus. We're just gonna look at the verse and chorus comps here, but let's have a quick listen to the track first from where the vocals come in.
We were heading to a place I knew, and we could go on and on and on tonight. Give me something I can hold on tight to. I know that it ain't working, but I swear to God it's worth it.
Cool, so that's the track. Now let's have a look at the vocals. So I've got a version of the song here without the vocal on. And obviously the vocals aren't going to be mixed in very well because we're just using them to comp and they're very separate at the minute. So don't think about the mix, let's just think about the comps. So what is a comp? So basically if I click this little arrow that you can see here, it's going to open a folder. And in this folder are all the different takes we did of this section of the song. So all of these are different versions. And if we want to, we can like listen through each version. Now you're probably noticing as I'm doing this, the version at the top is changing. So this version right at the top is the combination of these down here. So depending on how we select down here, if you look at the top now, it's changing the waves up at the top because we're using this take. So now take 2 shows up here. The way I'm selecting which part of the take I want is really easy. When you've opened your comp folder, you're just going to click and drag across which section of that take you want to be your main take. So up here is the combination, if you like, if you think of it like that, and these are the options. So if we want this part and then we like this and then we want this section and then we want this section and just get rid of this like that and then this section. So now at the top we can see all these different crossfades where we've chosen how to comp our vocals. Now that's the basis of comping. It's really that simple. And the next stage is actually to listen to our takes and decide which one's the best. So what we usually do is select the first take and then we'll listen to the different options of each line or each word. And if we don't like it, then we'll try a different one. So let's listen to this first line.
We were heading to a place I knew.
Cool, let's try this take.
We were heading.
So I wasn't keen on that entry there, so let's try take 3 here.
We were heading to a place I knew.
So it's definitely either the take 1 or 3. So let's listen to 3 and then 1.
We were heading. We were heading.
This is take 3's got a little bit more urgency, so we're going to go with that. And then we're going to fade up to here. The thing we have to be careful of is either breaths out or breaths in, because if we do a comp exactly on a breath, then you kind of get this effect. So you need to listen to where the breaths are.
Right in deep.
Thankfully, this is quite quiet, so we don't need to worry about it, but it is something to be conscious of. So let's comp all the way up to there, and then we've got the breath in for the next line, and let's do the comp for this line.
Right in deep end, like lovers do.
So that's a little bit late. Let's try take 2.
Right in the deep end, like lovers do.
That's better. And 3.
Right in the deep end, like lovers do.
I felt a little bit rushed. I think I prefer this take here.
like lovers do.
So we're going to go for this take here. So as you can see, that's essentially all that comping is. We're making decisions based on which take was the best and then selecting it. So up at the top, we have a combination of the best parts of each take. What you can do is get really, really into this though. You can do obviously phrase by phrase like we're doing here. But if you like this word, the do, more, this one particularly, or maybe like take 3 do, then you can just do that word. There's even been times where I like the first half of one word and the second half of another word, and you have to be like pretty careful with it, but you can even get away with doing like comps in the middle of the word if you get a good word,
like lovers do.
Like you wouldn't be able to hear the difference there, but maybe if you mucked up the performance at the end of this word, but the end was fine on this take, so we'll do a comp in the middle, and then you get a nice perfect word almost. You get a nice perfect word almost. Now I'm not going to bore you by doing the comp of the whole verse because it's basically just that repeated for every section. But I'm going to show you some other little tips that you can use here. So stuff I've learned recently actually, which I wish I'd known before. So see these 4 blobs here? These kind of represent the blobs you get here. So if I did it like this, that now looks a little bit like this, right? So when you're in this mode, it's comp mode. This is where you can select each take and stuff. Whereas if you click this button, it becomes scissors, and then we have more control over the take. So you know how we said that this take down here was a bit late? Well, with the scissors tool, we can actually move the take. So now we can move it so it's more in time. Whereas obviously, if we tried to do this when we were on the comp mode, it would just comp that take. You see what I mean? So actually, the scissors tool is really useful. And when you're in this mode, you can hold command. So I've got command set to the Mkii tool here. You can hold command and slice your comp like this. And then you can just move this section of the comp as well. I didn't know this until recently, and it's really useful. So make sure you use the scissors to like readjust takes, and you can use the Mkii tool on command to like cut up your comps like this and then move them about if they're out of time or if you want to rejig them at all. The other thing the scissors tool is really useful for is if by accident or for whatever reason you decide that you want to trim your vocal take to here, for example. So you've trimmed your take and then you realize, oh, actually I want that back. Well, you can't seemingly drag it back. Look, it doesn't reappear, and you can't drag these out because we're in comp mode. If you click this and you get the scissors, then as if by magic, you can drag out all of those comps again to exactly where they were before you cut them up. The great thing about Logic is it automatically does these crossfades for you. So then we're just going to close up that comp, and now it's nice and tidy. And let's move on to the chorus for the next thing that I want to talk about really quickly. So let's say in this chorus, we're going to do a very, very simple comp. We're going to go for the first part there, the second part is going to be this, and then the third part is going to be down here. So we've got these 3 sections comped like this, but it looks kind of messy, and also we can't do much with like a comp folder like this. So Logic doesn't enable you to like do fades on the end of the folder. As I say, if you do this, then it's destructive unless you use like the scissors tool here, and it's just not fun to work with folders in Logic. It's something that they could definitely improve on. So there are 2 options if you want to get rid of a comp because you can't use it in the same way as an audio file. The first way is super easy. We're going to click on the A here, comp A, and then we've got the takes inside as we can see. And then instead of doing any of these, we're going to flatten and merge this comp. And what this is going to do is basically give us an audio file instead of the comp folder. Now this is really useful. The problem with this is we can't now go back and edit that comp at all. Like it's now just an audio file. We've lost it. We can't like go and get that back. So what I would suggest you do instead of doing that is here's your comp folder. We're going to bounce it in place. That means we're going to basically take this and export it onto another track. So we just have the audio file, but we still have the folder there as well. To do that, we're going to go Control and B. We want to make sure that we're bypassing the effects. Click OK. And now we have another file here with no processing on it, just exactly the same audio, but it's not in a folder. So this is the kind of audio file that you can do your fades on, you can cut up and then like, you can move this out and then stretch this over the top, like normal audio file, like you're used to in Logic, right? But now we've got this ugly comp here that we don't really want to see because we've already done it. We don't want to have to think about it. So what I suggest you do is use the hide function in Logic. So if you hit H, you get this channel strip H here, and then also an H at the top to show you're in hide mode. And now you just select the tracks that you want to hide, hit H again, and they go away. To remind you you've hidden tracks, this H at the top goes orange, and to bring them back, just click it or hit H down here and you can see your comp again. The reason I suggest doing this is sometimes you change your mind on the decisions you've made and you want to go back, but you don't have to see it the whole time you're working on the song. So you can hide that comp, use your audio file, and you're like, oh, I wish I had a different version of Heart in 2. And you go back here, you find your comp, you're like, okay, so let's unmute this with Control M, and then we can select this comp instead. Maybe let's use here. And then we can bounce this out in exactly the same way, find the bit we want, and then drop it in. You see? And then if we hit H again, the comp's gone. So it's a really easy way of managing your files rather than having it all like piling up. And that's comping. It can be quite intimidating, but hopefully now you understand. If you haven't subscribed already, please click the subscribe button down below. I think about 80% of people who watch these videos aren't subscribed, which is a real shame because there's some, good content coming on this channel. We're doing 3 videos a week at the minute, and I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff that you'd really enjoy watching. So make sure you click subscribe and the bell, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.